They're on this today, so
Day doesn't.
To get away from email me, I'll find out exactly. The straight answer to that is 10 minutes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, we are now live. Welcome to this meeting of the Finance Strategy and Management Committee. Apologies for the slightly late start caused by the Long River Committee meeting that immediately preceded. First item is apologies for absence. 10 o'clock.
We have apologies from Councillors Hoskins and Payne.
Thank you very much. To declarations of interest, does any council have a declaration of interest to make in relation to this meeting? I do have an item to declare in confidential due to my association with Henley Rowing Club. Although I'm not sure if it's an ORI or a full declaration, certainly not a pecuniary one, but I will recuse myself from that item, and Councillor Reisman will take the chair for that part. Right, no one else? Good. All right, public participation. I think you probably all know the drill by now, that if you would like to speak, please raise your hand, say your name, where you're from, and may ask a question. No more than 3 minutes, please, for each one.
Sorry, Richard Guy from New Street. Back again to the jetty at Singer's Wharf. The last information I was given, you were expecting to be given the go-ahead by the Land Registry sometime in January. We're now at the end of January. Any progress, any news?
I'm afraid not. Sorry, 10 o'clock.
As of yesterday, there is news. So they, when they said January, they were good to their word. So we got a letter saying that in order to take it further, they need to undertake a survey. And so we've had to commission, or they've commissioned Ordnance Survey to undertake a survey, which they say should be within the next 3 weeks, and then they can consider the application. So it looks like there is a further delay, but at least there is some progress from Land Registry.
It's good news. It's good news. I just one more comment about item 8. 50,000 seat funding for renovations of the footbridge. This is brought to the meeting verbal. I have a vague idea because of the river meeting what it might be about, but otherwise, should 50,000 really be brought to a meeting verbally? I mean, I presume the councillors who weren't at the river meeting have no idea what it's about. Is this in accordance with standing orders? Should standing orders be varied to take accordance to this sort of thing?
That's a fair question. My understanding is that this will be a recommendation to full council. All councillors will have an opportunity to consider. Town Clerk, do you want to elaborate any further?
Yes, at the moment, it is basically just a kind of agreement in principle, if you like, so that there isn't a firm.
So say approve.
Yeah, but it's yes, it would be to approve, not to go to full council, but it would be an agreement in principle. So it's not making so it's not a firm commitment to the expenditure. It's just an agreement in principle.
Despite saying it's to approve.
Yes.
That's the wording.
Yes.
Although, to make the point, it's coming out of, it's recommended to come out of community infrastructure levy, which is something that we have to use on certain projects. It's an earmarked set of reserves that we get from developers and other property developments when large-scale things take place that we have to spend on a restricted type of activity. This would count as one of those types. We also have a limited time to use for the civil
Before you
reserves.
spend the 50,000, there will be some form of written recommendation to either yourselves or full council, I guess.
It is as we haven't got onto the item yet, we haven't had that opportunity for the verbal report.
Yes, I know, but I only have this opportunity of participation.
Yes. It's a fair point to raise. Thank you for raising it. I think I believe you're here to speak to a particular item.
I am.
Would you like to speak about anything else before we move on?
As long as I can speak at my item.
No, you will be able to speak at your item.
Okay, that's fine.
Lovely. Richard, anything else you'd like to speak?
No,
Or?
that's
Thank you very much. So next is minutes.
The grant, sorry. We have finished for the grant application.
Yes. So we'll do the minutes first. So to approve the minutes of the committee meeting of the 2nd December, and then after that, the 15th of December from last year.
Just to know, there is a small typo under item 6 on the minutes for the 2nd of December. There's a kind of half-written resolution which just needs to come out there.
Thank you very much. Do we need to vote on an amendment or
No, just
approve with
just
that?
approve with that then.
Perfect. Yes, I propose. Does anyone have anything else to say on it before we vote?
Just for clarity, what was the change that you wanted?
Item 6, there's a yes.
Oh, yeah.
Comment.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about the dispensation.
Yeah, and that just needs to be removed.
So that whole,
That line just needs to be removed.
yeah, okay, yes, right. Thanks.
With that amendment,
Okay, happy to second that.
with that amendment, all in favour? Thank you very much. And the same for the 15th. It was the extraordinary meeting. So you're proposing, Councillor Tice, thank you. Seconding, thank you. Anyone to speak? No, all in favour? Thank you very much. So before we move on to finance, I'm going to propose that we move up item 7, the free use application, to now, so that we can hear now and she doesn't have to stay to listen to all the fascinating discussions we'll be having later on.
So I'm Tiffany, I'm from Seed Wellness. I don't know if any of you have come across us, but we are a holistic group of holistic practitioners throughout Henley. We're now just spread all the way through Marlow, Beaconsfield, Amersham, Aylesbury, and heading into London as well. And the Henley team, which I'm the head of that, we are asking for free use of King's Arms Barn once a month to run a free community clinic where we will come, we'll give our time for free, and the idea is that hopefully the community will use us to come any problems they have. So I'm an acupuncturist, I have a hypnotherapist, and it's amazing sleep and habits, and she actually got my daughter to stop biting her nails in one session, so she's absolutely amazing. We've got a fantastic ADHD coach, nutritionists, aromatherapists, we've got Reiki and reflexology, and all of the practitioners will be giving up their time for free to stand in the barn, and hopefully we get a lot of people through the door. We started back in, when did we start? We did a sort of trial back in November, and we had a great opening session with lots of people coming through the door. Unfortunately, it slowly dwindled off as we came to Christmas. Then our last one was on the 18th of December, and it was freezing and blah, 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 people. But we really hope this year a bit more momentum, and only doing once a month instead of weekly. But we should be able to get the community involved a little bit more to help with community wellness. That's the plan.
No, thank you very much. Does any councillor wish to ask any questions on this?
I'm not to ask, but it's just like
Councillor
the Human Repair Cafe.
Sorry?
It's like the Human Repair Cafe.
It is, yes, sorry, it's the human repair cafe, absolutely.
Sounds great.
Can I ask about the number of attendees? You say 25. How many actually live in Henley and how many outside of it? Got any rough idea?
I didn't ask.
Yeah.
I didn't ask, but I presume most were Henley based, going on demographic. I wasn't planning to.
I don't know what you mean.
My only concern on this is the fact that you asked last Thursday of the month, and given it's only for one venue, if there's a clash at any point, is that movable?
Yeah, so I think it is already. So I think we're doing. So we're doing last Thursday in January, just because all of our promotion was. But then we're going to move to the Friday, last Friday of the month. And I think there is a clash that we already know about in August, and there was another month that was given. And yeah, I'll just arrange with practitioners to move it, or just not do that month.
So if I can propose that we accept this with a slight amendment that the approval is for once a month rather than restricted to as written.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we'll try and arrange a date that's convenient for you as well as,
Yes.
as well as us.
Do I have a seconder? Thank you. Mr. Mayor, all in favour? Thank you very much.
Thank you very
You're
much.
very welcome, stay, but you don't have to.
I'll probably head up there after.
Absolutely fine.
You're very wise.
Right, so we should go back to the agenda. So, reverse back to item 5, finance. Does any council have any on this? I had one question here, which is I saw that in the CCLA account there was a shift of £5,000 and then also of £135,000. I'd just like to know what these were for. I suspect I know, but I want to have it confirmed.
What page
Is it
is
what
that?
page?
That is page 27 of the agenda.
Oh, the transfer it was to transfer money from the CLA account to the current account to pay our standard.
So that's the standard, yeah, okay. I thought that's what it might be, but given it's such a large amount, I did want to be sure.
Okay.
Councillor Riceman.
It's really good to see the bus service having such the increased service that we provided is clearly being taken up. It is of value to the community, and that's excellent to see. And I hope that as more and more of the Henley residents are aware of the service, it'll be used even more. And so that's really good news. It's an important service for, although not everyone at Henley uses it. We all benefit from having that service, either to keep cars off the road or to enable our residents to be more part of the neighbours coming to town.
Yeah. I'll go again. Another one. On page 33, there's a payment for refund of Xmas Huts issues. I wasn't aware of any. So why was that?
That's a good question. I don't know.
The Christmas hats.
Yes.
So that's page 33.
Page 33,
Is that?
third from bottom.
Oh, sorry, that's on page 36. It should be something like.
If it's easier, I'm going to have to take an answer out of the meeting, but that's
Okay, we
It's a
did
small
refund
item.
for the Christmas hats, on day number 1, there was a delay on actually setting them up. The people who have already booked to hire the Christmas hats, they've paid in advance. So we have to refund them for day 1 because of the delay on having them ready.
Well, that seems fair enough to them. Okay, I'll leave RNA to discuss why it happened. Does anyone else have anything else on this item?
No.
In which case we'll go to policies. Councillor Riceman, I believe you had an amendment on one of the standing orders. You wished to make.
Oh, I did, yes. I had two, but one of them I was persuaded was I need to go and check my wording. So, I think it was in 1E. I'll go and check. There's the financial regulation. Sorry, I haven't.
Are you doing standing orders, financial regulations, or investment strategy?
Standing
These
orders.
standing
That's standing
Okay,
orders at
first
the
one.
moment, yeah.
So standing
We'll
orders,
take them in order.
it was,
It's 1E on page 56.
it's in 1E, has a sentence in respect of 1E. And it doesn't mean that, it means 1D. This is a pretty minor piece of pedantry on my part, which I'm very proud of.
Yes, well spotted, and your time on Radio 4 has not been wasted.
And so I propose that minor amendment is made, but otherwise that we adopt these standing orders as on the agenda.
Excellent. And second?
Well, it's really good that Councillor Riceman gives attention to this level of detail.
Yeah.
So that the rest of us can get on with our lives.
You don't feel retired.
Is this what you were doing on the plane to Australia?
It was a long flight.
Clearly.
And you came out with just that.
Well, I did come out with a second, but Sheridan has persuaded me that.
Well, on the return journey, the second one.
But yeah, one each.
Well, in which case, So are you seconding, Councillor Gavrishak?
Oh, yes, absolutely, definitely.
All in favour? Thank you very much. Next, financial regulations. Does anyone wish to speak to this? I see none, in which case do I have a proposer to adopt?
Oh, sorry, hang on.
Sorry, we'll wait for Councillor Thomas.
Yes, okay, I'm on it.
Sorry, is that you wishing to speak to?
No, I'm just getting to the right page.
No worries.
Yeah, I didn't have anything on this. Fine.
Is that a proposal, Councillor Plant? Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much. Councillor Rushman, I believe you have a proposal for the next one, and there are some amendments to, as written in the agenda, but you should all have received an updated, accurate copy of the new strategy.
Yes, I'm not going to talk about any of the specific amendments, but the updated copy is the one that I wish to propose. And I'd like to, so I'd like to propose that the updated copy is adopted. And I'd like to talk briefly about the background to the reasons why some of these changes are being made. Some of them are just routine minor, but the main change is a result of the investment working group, which reviewed the Town Council's investment strategy over the last few months. So the main update is to change what is quite specific guidance in some areas of of our investment policy into more general high-level instructions. And that's to the objective there is to allow our investment managers to change from a bespoke portfolio that's specific to the Town Council to a more generic desegregated portfolio, which can be shared across multiple accounts by the investment manager, so that we get what are economies of scale. In particular, reduced costs, because they don't have to have a tailored set of investments for the Town Council. They already exist, and that's the flexibility in disposals will be more straightforward. So investments can be liquidated more quickly and easily as a result of the fact that we're part of a larger portfolio. And that did lead to a discussion about what the priorities of our investments are, the high-level priorities. And it's proposed that the order of priority is security. In other words, that the investments are, insofar as they are possible to be, are safe and secure from being lost. Followed by yield, in other words, the gain that we make. Followed by liquidity, but subject to the fact that the investment managers are aware that we do have needs for drawdown, and that the liquidity available to us meets our needs. And that will be at least partly met, and the situation will be improved from where we are currently by the fact that we're now going to be in a larger portfolio. Some of the requirements that are being removed, some of them are specific investment type requirements, and some of them are our ethical investments. But we intend to, in discussion with the investment managers, make sure that our goals of investing ethically, but also in ways which meet our goals, are left to the investment managers themselves, who are the experts in these matters, rather than tying their hands in certain ways which are really rather somewhat arbitrary. So overall, we expect the policy on ethical investments to be improved, despite the fact that we are removing some of the specific constraints. We expect the overall principle, which is that we invest ethically, is to be retained and, if possible, improved. And that will depend on the discussions that we hold with you over the next few months as our new policy is presented to them. So yes, the next stage will be to talk to the investment managers about what it is that they feel they can offer us based on these what I think are improved policies.
I think it's also important to note that the liquidity will enormously improve as a result of this, as going into a combined fund, lots of other people means that you're selling shares in a fund, which are almost a cash equivalent. So instead of it at the moment taking 21 days to liquidate, it would take 2 days. It would be much, much quicker and much easier for us to withdraw without also market risk volatility that we have right now. If you have to sell assets quickly, you have a problem. You don't have that in this sort of fund. Councillor?
Just to say, I have pointed it out, and I know there are differences of opinion, but just for public record, I do want to state that the council does have to have, by statute, does have to give regard to statutory guidance. The statutory guidance states that the objectives in this order should be security, liquidity, and yield. That your investments are secure, you're not going to use them, that they are available when you need them, and only then is the objective to get as much as you can for them. This amendment that's been put forward has suggests that liquidity is the third objective. I would still argue that liquidity after security is paramount, because you have to make sure that you have the money available when you need it. Now, it's not it won't be a high bar to reach, so it's not an objective that you have to worry too much about, but it should still be an objective which is more important than yield. That's just the only point I'd make. Yeah.
Councillor Plant, I'll come to you afterwards. Councillor
I was just looking at the review, sort of listening to that, I was like, is it just semantics at this point? Because by the changes we'll make, our investments will be more liquid towards us anyway. So whether we leave the words as were and still leave liquidity, well, or if you add liquidity and yield, does it make any difference to you? Would you still rather it was liquidity ahead of you? And are we allowed to change it to that, seeing as we're making it more liquid?
To be honest, in practice, it probably makes very little difference.
Yeah, that's what I was, yeah.
If our internal auditor were to look at it, then he would probably say, why have you gone against the statutory guidance that you have to have regard for? And it's not, you don't have to follow it, but you do have to have regard for it.
But do we have a relevant argument to answer that would stand up?
We had a long discussion about this in the investment working group. As part of that, it was decided that because when you're giving instructions to investment managers, if you gave them such an instruction, it could enormously reduce your yield without improving in practice your liquidity, because you could end up in a portfolio where you are effectively saying we can only have very liquid assets, which is not what we want to be in. So we felt that when you're talking to investment managers, and with the mandate that we have, which is effectively what this is the council's mandate to them, that it would be counterproductive to have it in that order, in that regard, but it actually, we're meeting our liquidity requirements through other methods.
Well, in all practicality sense, things we've got security first, by definition, they're going to be pretty liquid. We're not going to be anything we can't take out of because security isn't all. I don't mind, I'm ambivalent to the wording. If Sheridan felt strongly that it should remain that way, then like we said, it's semantics either way. And we're going to explain to the investment managers which way it goes, but then I like the recommendation. I don't feel the need to change it as long as Sheridan's happy.
Yeah. Councillor Thomas.
Well, I understand the reasons behind all of this, but I do want to know roughly, approximately, how much is it realistically going to save the council in pounds?
That will have to be investigated next when we do a review of our investment managers.
Do you know, can you give me a ballpark?
I would have to start them first.
We're talking in percentage terms of portfolio per year. And if at the moment our investment managers are managing this on a bespoke basis with someone who is...
I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I thought all managers did everything on a bespoke basis.
No, not at all.
Not even close.
No?
So at the moment, we're being charged a relatively high percentage for a personal plan. Obviously, they come and sit to us, they listen to all the points we say about where we want stuff, and we don't want this company, we don't want this, and like ESG and all of that sort of stuff, which what it's actually meaning is the returns that we're getting once their percentages are included in their management fees are actually behind market for both of them. I know they're always trying to say, oh, actually, we're ahead, this line shows us here, but actually, other investment managers that have looked at it have actually said, conclusively they're not. And we would, that's where the advice and the review has come to, why don't we look at something more passive where you're going to get a better rate of management or percentage fee, which means that a lower management fee will return us greater, ratio to the actual fee that they're returning. Their management fee is ebbing away into our actual returns each year, and we don't need that level of bespoke service. We're not giving them anything.
But you can't really compare Henley Town Council to, people out there, individual investors out there and our companies who have a treasury department, and so where are those
Well, I think
sort of like,
in a sense,
how can our fund manager kind of grab onto, right, so this could be similar to what X company are doing, or you know what I mean?
but that's not the point
council.
here. At the moment, we have a set of requirements that you would normally expect. It would be reasonable if you're talking about
So it's all done on the
hundreds of
requirements,
millions.
on the descriptions of the requirements.
Yes, because we're setting them with
Okay,
such
I
a
get it.
restricted mandate
Okay,
that it will be cutting our returns and increasing our cost to administer that
I got it,
enormously.
yeah.
Whereas doing it this way, it would be a bit more like your net high worth individual investing. They're not going to have their own dedicated fund manager and team with all this. They're going to say, right, these are the things I want you to do in the market. This is the risk profile I'm happy with, and I want to have certain requirements about access to my money. This is what we are now looking to do. It's entirely standard within the market, and it should get us a better return, as well as having a better accountability within the things we care about, such as ethical investing.
Well, their management fees are what? They're in the 1-3% type margin.
Yeah.
And someone like an AJ Bell who's Lansdowne, for example, could offer almost the same returns for like a 0.3%. I know we're not moving something like that, but that's the sort of change we're talking about.
Yeah, it's very competitive out there as well, because there are so many of these companies on the market now.
But there wouldn't be many who'd be willing to take on us with our current
No, true,
requirements.
no.
So this again opens up competition to us, and that will be the next stage in the investment working group, is to do a review of our fund managers and make sure we are with the right people.
Also, to complement them, they're both offering us discounts at the moment.
They've always done a great job for us, so we need to be, very cautious about how we go about this, because we don't want to lose them. As our
This will
fund
make their life
managers.
easier as well.
And compared
Yeah,
to the
but
market,
also it's going to make them less money.
Yes,
But
but we are the client
They've
here.
always done a very, very, very good job for us, so.
Yes, but
Yeah.
we are the client here.
Yeah, I know that, but, but,
It's,
Sorry,
it's
go
not
on, go on.
necessarily that they will make more, they will make less money. Because if their transactional costs also come down, then in fact it might be a net zero for them.
oh, the transactional cost.
also, they don't want to lose us as a client.
Because we're bespoke, let's put it in that term, because we're bespoke, we incur additional fees because they are tailoring the service.
Yeah, they just move.
If they are going
it a lot
to
more than perhaps they would
generic
do.
moverings,
Yeah.
like this lump into Asia and this lump into whatever, then in fact, it may well be sort of net zero for them as well, even though the cost to us is less, the cost to them might be exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it's what they'll do with most of their clients, so I don't think this is entirely reasonable. Are you proposing, Councillor Iceman?
I am proposing.
Oh,
yes.
suggested it, though, isn't it?
It's only the last few. Oh no, they wouldn't suggest it because they're happy for us to be on the bespoke service.
And going back to the town clerk's concerns about paying due regard to liquidity, I think the fact that we've had this discussion and that we believe liquidity will be improved, I think demonstrates due regard. You may wish to minute that, just so the auditor, if that is queried, can be pointed the auditor to the minute and say we have considered it and we believe this is an improvement in our liquidity position.
So, Councillor Tom, was that a second?
Yep.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak to this? All in favour? Thank you very much. So next up is expenditure. So the verbal report. I'm assuming this is
Yes. Thank you. So on Marsh Lock footbridge, we held a meeting between councillors, the Environment Agency, and the MP earlier this month. So the EA have appointed 2 project managers to oversee the refurbishment of the Marshlock footbridge, and they confirmed that the initial design work was underway and was due to be finished by the end of March, following which they'll be seeking outline costings from their contractor. That will then enable them to basically start on their fundraising campaign. So they've been working on a fundraising strategy that they presented an outline to the meeting. Broadly speaking, they recognise basically that the Environment Agency would not have funds to undertake the whole of the work. They don't know how much the work will be. There were some estimates around 3 to 5 million, but it could be a lot more than that. They don't know at the moment. So hence they need some outline costings. However, regardless, their funding model would be a mixture of some funding from the Environment Agency, but also funding from local authorities, from high net worth individuals, through crowdfunding, and they also discussed a potential footbridge restoration levy for events. So similar to when you attend the theatre and pay £1 to a theatre restoration levy, if you're attending Henley Festival or your regatta or something similar, there may be a small levy on that, which would go towards the restoration of the bridge. At the moment, that fundraising strategy is in the early stages, and it looks like actually they'll be looking to launch it later in the year. However, it is clear that they will be looking for some buy-in from local authorities, including the town council. So the request which is coming to the committee this evening is not for any firm to approve any expenditure at this stage, but it is basically looking for the allocation of, the suggestion is up to £50,000 from SIL to be allocated in principle as seed funding for the renovation of the Marshlock footbridge. Although this would be a small contribution in the grand scheme to it, it is an opportunity basically for the council to make an early sign of its commitment to the project. But as I say, it would just be allocating it in principle, not agreeing the expenditure right this moment. But it's just an offering to the Environment Agency as a sign of goodwill.
Councillor Gaveston.
A few questions. Could I ask, is this resolved to recommend to full council to do this? Or is this us actually, as a finance committee, saying, right, this is what we think we should do?
No, so it would just be a resolution for this committee.
Which goes through full council, but it'll be resolved today.
Sorry?
Which obviously goes through full council, but it'll be resolved today.
Yeah. Let's talk. I'm broadly speaking a bit concerned, and the reason is, and with due respect to Richard, who spoke, that quite rightly, I mean, firstly, in broad principle terms, allocating £50,000 to get this done for the benefit of walkers and the community of Henley is absolutely the right thing we should be doing. We should be contributing to it. But with the rationale, Sheridan, well done, thank you for explaining it in the round. But I think without the rationale for allocating it on paper, I would think that we should not do it. In other words, there should be the broad outline of the case. Because there are elements of this that I am uncomfortable about. I mean, the elements are that this is a public horse bridge. The EEA is a publicly funded body, so therefore I understand everything about the fact that we ain't going to get this done unless we put money into the pot. But there's got to be an opportunity for people, including councillors, to actually say that this footbridge should be fixed out of public funds.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I am concerned, and just to pick upon here, if this is at the early stages, then do we have to do it now? I mean, do we have to send a sign to the Environment Agency? We in principle are engaged with them. Sorry, I am going to stop my rambling in a moment and forgive my head cold. Forget it. At some point, we should give them an indication, but at the moment, we don't need to because they haven't come out with their funding model. Yes. I mean, yes, in 2 months' time, we can give an in principle 50,000 quid.
So is this a proposal to defer then?
Yes.
It's a vote to defer it until we get forward deals. It's also a vote that when we do vote on it, we need something in writing.
So deferred pending written report, perhaps?
Yes. And waiting for the model that the EA are going to produce, because they haven't produced their funding model at the moment. They have verbally at the meeting, but they haven't on paper said, right, we're going to go out to this, and the cost is, and also, sorry, I said I was going to stop, and also we haven't got a clue what this is going to cost. So therefore, I think it's just a little premature.
That's fair enough. Do I have a second of his proposal?
Well,
I'll come
No,
to
I'd
you.
like to just speak.
I didn't propose. It was a
Proposal
discussion.
for deferral.
No, I haven't
Okay,
got
right.
to that stage
Councillor
yet.
Thomas.
I was waiting for others to
Well,
speak.
we normally do proposal second, then debate, don't we? But yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It should be proposal second, then debate, which is what I was trying
Yeah,
to.
Stefan
well, I was
hasn't
trying to
formulated
tease
a
out.
proposal yet that anyone can back.
Yes.
With due respect, because you
No,
said
it's
you're
fine.
still thinking it through and
Yeah.
things
I
like that.
have put some wording down if you want to do
No,
that.
I don't want any wording because I don't like this one bit. I do not understand. Is this the Environment Agency, as the public body responsible for such some actually telling us, I'm sorry, you're basically on your own, and we're going to want money from this? They're setting some kind of national precedent here about how all of these pieces of infrastructure along national trails are actually going to be funded. I think it's outrageous, and I'm not having any of it.
Councillor Thomas, for what it's worth, and I'm not disagreeing with you in the slightest, but
It makes me really
they
angry.
do not at the moment accept responsibility. They have not, in any correspondence or meetings, I've said, yes, this is absolutely ours to fix. So if we were to go ahead and try and prove that and do it in court, it could end up costing us a lot more. I think that's the point. If we are to get this done,
I thought we were getting all of this straightened out, and it suddenly turned a different corner because we were going with the, in the past you've done great work on this, Rory. You've gone and you've gone to the council saying there's this legislation, there's that Act of Parliament we can use, we can do this, we can do that, and the Environment Agency started talking, and now suddenly they're saying, right, well, actually, you're on your own basically because, we're going to have to put a funding model together to get money from here and money from there. And this is going to take years and years and years. They just need to admit their responsibility. We need to try and do something about them to get them to admit their responsibility and just get them to get on and do it.
Sorry, yeah, I will. Okay, I will formally make the proposal to defer this then, and if it's seconded, then I'll speak and I'll pick up some of Michelle's points.
so deferring, is the proposal to defer pending a written report and the
Defer
costings from
pending,
the Environment Agency?
depending a written, defer for a written report after the EEA have spoken on their funding model and also how much is it going to cost.
Indeed. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Blunt.
Okay, then I'll speak. The problem, Michelle, with this is that, and well done, Rory, for kicking this. Also, well done for Freddie Van Merle. He's pursued this pretty doggedly. The problem is this kind of funding model has been used by the EEA in the past for flood relief. If there is a community that's in danger of flood, and I know it's stupid, okay? If there is a community in danger of flooding, they will come to a community and they will say, look, we haven't got the dosh. And this scheme is going to cost £1 million. Now, we will chip in 500 grand if you, the community, chip in 500 grand, and it gets the job done. And this is the kind of model that they already use this funding model for flood relief schemes. I mean, there was a huge one in Oxford that I was party to as the county council, which was 20 or 30 million quid. And local people crowdfunded, chipped in X amount. They shouldn't have had to, I agree with you on that. So what they've done, they've taken this flood investment model of crowdfunding and popped it over to this recreational bit. And in fact, at the moment, we should still bang on about that the EEA should fund it and the government should fund it totally. But we have got to also pursue this model in order to get Dublin Bridge open. So that's why I'm proposing deferment at the moment so that we can have all those facts on a bit of paper, that's all.
What happens with, does anybody know what happens with the one that's near Marlow?
Yes.
Is that fixed, and who is
No.
it fixed
No,
by?
it's
Where's
not.
the-
It's not fixed, and
Exactly
actually
the
it's
same.
it's not economically repairable. It needs replacement.
So what's going to happen with that one then?
Exactly the same.
But so each
So
bridge
the
has a
Environment
code,
Agency just, how did these bridges get built in the first place? Who built the bridges in the first place?
Local landowners, historical families, people with wealth who wanted to make sure there was something provided. Philanthropy.
DEFRA.
Is that how they were first built, was through in philanthropy?
Some was philanthropy, some was, I mean, the whole horse bridge was probably a commercial decision because it was the tow path for the horses to tow the carriages.
But the other side of that is that in particular, the issue there is that the lock is on the other side from the path. So they built the bridge so that people could actually get to the lock from the towpath. So that's why that's because it goes right. This is the fact that it's a heritage thing. It goes from the path right the way over to the lock and back again, because that's what the path was. But they put the lock on the other side because they couldn't get it on this side.
Councillor Riceman.
I got a lot of sympathy with the point that a member of the public made and that Councillor Goshek has also made. I've also got a lot of sympathy with Councillor Thomas's points that it's outrageous that the failure of the government to properly fund the Environment Agency has led to this kind of situation. And the Town Council has repeatedly over many years had to step in where governments and the county councils have failed to provide what they should be providing, whether it's crossings or whether it's street lighting or whether it's bus service. We frequently had to do that, and I regret the fact that this council has had to has effectively paid for things twice. There's a question I'd like to ask. I wasn't at the meeting with the Environment Agency. Why do they want us to do this now? I mean, 50,000 is a drop in the ocean compared to the millions of pounds that this is going to require. Why do they want it? Is it because they want us to indicate that the fund, the community raised funding is going to happen, and that they want a sort of gesture of goodwill from the council towards this principle? Why have they asked us to do this now? That isn't something that I think you can explain.
So it is a gesture of goodwill, kind of early engagement, but again, is it crucial now? No.
So the proposal, I think, is just simply to defer a decision. I mean, I was going to suggest that we say that we will be prepared to consider at some point putting money into the project to renovate the bridge as the funding model emerges. There isn't a funding model yet. We don't know how it's going to work. We have some ideas that we've been told. And so I'm happy to say that we were prepared to consider it. Not that we've decided to do it, because we don't know yet. And secondly, we haven't got a written report, and I completely agree with the member of the public that spending 50,000 on a verbal report is does not strike me as good governance. So I was going to do a slightly reworded, but I'm happy just to defer on the basis that we at this point don't need to go ahead, but with an indication that we will be prepared to look possibly favourably at helping the community funding in the future.
So just for clarity, I believe the proposal was to defer until after the Environment Agency has come up with the funding model, the costings, and for a written report to be prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I support that proposal. I would have worded it slightly differently, but that's fine.
Councillor Plant, you had your hand up.
I've answered it myself.
Perfect. Which is, I think that's everyone. All in favour of Councillor Gabbard's
Sorry,
Oh, so you wish to speak?
just sum up. That's all. That's all.
Feel free.
I don't normally, we just do it. The reason why I think this is important is because the allocation of 50,000 quid from SILT funding does actually mean that we're taking 50,000 quid out from something else, or potentially.
That's right.
Therefore,
It's not free money.
the 50,000 could be on the bus, could be on other schemes.
Sorry, Councillor Plant. Thomas.
So the important thing is to defer it. Yes, when the report comes back, the option might be that we won't specify a figure. It might well be just we totally support it. Let's leave it to that particular point. Okay. So therefore, I ask you to vote for what I've said.
Thank you very much. Councillor Thomas.
May I just say as well, I have to say, I don't like these kind of verbal things, these sorts of reports. I prefer to have something structured, written, with the background that I've just seen on Google here, with thanks to AI. About ownership, about the original construction, about where we are now, about the current status, about the proposed funding structure. I've got more from that than I have. We need something more than this to be able to make such decisions. And therefore I definitely would prefer having something more substantial.
Thank you.
If you don't mind saying.
I'm going to take this to a vote now. I think we're all now broadly saying the same thing. So all in favour of Councillor Gabbard's proposal. Thank you very much. Swiftly on, exclusion of the press and public. To consider that the public and press be excluded from the remainder of the meeting in accordance with the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, as publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business. I propose this from the chair. Thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much.